Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going through teenagers' biggest assumptions about university. I had some recent high school graduates send me their biggest assumptions about university, so I'll be answering those and letting you know whether their assumptions are actually correct or false. So let's see what these assumptions are. Okay, so the first assumption I received was from SADIE ALDIS. She just graduated high school. One of her assumptions about university when she was in high school is that there's going to be a bunch of sororities that go against each other. So this one is both true and false. It really depends on where you go to school. I know that here in Canada, sororities aren't a huge thing, so there's not a lot of competing and there isn't a huge emphasis on joining sororities. But I know that in the US, sororities are huge, so I'm sure there are a lot of competitions going on. For Canada, I would say this is not really that true. The sororities that we do have are pretty chill. So if you are planning to join a sorority and you live in Canada, I wouldn't worry too much about that. But if you're in the US, then I would kind of check out the scene because I'm not too familiar with that. But I know that sororities are a great experience. They really help build your resume and give you a ton of experiences you probably wouldn't have if you weren't in a sorority. So if you're looking into joining one, then I would say it's a good idea. So SADIE actually sent me a few, so I'm just gonna go through another one that's a really good assumption that she has, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people have this assumption, and it's that I would get lost every 4 seconds, like in high school, and SADIE is not wrong. To be honest, like when you join university, you don't really know where your classes are, and some universities can be super confusing, so I definitely would say this is pretty true, especially for the first few weeks or months. You're not going to really know where you're going. You're probably going to get lost, but just always allot some extra time to get to your classes so you're not late for your classes. But yeah, you're gonna probably get lost and it's completely normal. There are probably hundreds of students that are just like you that are getting lost. I was still getting lost in my second year, so just try to go to as many places on campus so that you can figure out where everything is. Another assumption from SADIE is that profs are super scary and critical and harsh. And to be honest, I would say that the majority of profs have your best interest in heart, but there are some profs that are super critical and harsh. And I wouldn't really say scary, they're more just kind of strict. I had one prof who said we weren't allowed laptops in the class, which is crazy because how are you supposed to take notes? Everybody uses their laptop to take notes in university, so that was really weird. And if you took out your laptop or your phone at any point in class, you would always get called out. So there are those kind of strict profs that are kind of harsh. But overall, I would say that profs are pretty easygoing. They just want the best for you and they want you to succeed, because if they have a bunch of students that aren't doing well, it looks bad on them. So I would say this is kind of a case-by-case scenario, but don't be scared. Just feel out your prof and just know what their expectations are so that you don't get yourself in any uncomfortable situations like being called out in front of the class. And there's one more from SADIE. She sent me a bunch and they're all assumptions that I had when I was in high school, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people have, so these are really good ones. So the final one is that there's a lot of cool spirit weeks and a lot more fun school events to go to than high school. SADIE is so correct. There are so many more activities in university than high school. I know especially in Canada, we don't do a lot of activities in high school or school spirit events or anything like that. In the US, it's a little bit more popular, but in university, that is even amplified. Whether it be the basketball games, the football games, hockey games, whatever it is, the sporting events are huge. They have just spirit weeks and fun activities that are always happening on campus, and there's a bunch of clubs you can join. There's always something cool happening on campus. So yes, university is going to be a lot of fun and there's going to be a lot of things to do. So if you love going out and trying different things, then you're going to love university. Okay, so the next assumption is from Bailey Davidson, and she said that in first year you meet the friends that you'll have for the rest of your life. So this one's a little bit tricky. I know a lot of people have this assumption that in your very first year, you're gonna meet your best friend for your whole entire life and you're gonna be inseparable from then on. And yes, that's what's shown in movies, but that's not necessarily what happens. I know a lot of people that were best friends in first year that don't even talk anymore, or thought they were best friends and then second year came around and they didn't really like each other. So it obviously varies by person, but I would say throughout your time in university, you will find a really close friend. It just might not be in your first year. Of course, there's the case where people find their best friend in their first year and they're best friends until the end of university and after, but you probably will find a really close friend throughout the years. It just might not be in the beginning. Another one from Bailey is that professors aren't as involved in your academic success and that it falls on you. This is so true. Professors are not like high school teachers. They're not holding your hand, making sure you do your homework, making sure you hand in your assignments. If you do not hand in an assignment, that's your problem. You get a 0 and they move on with their life. They're not afraid to fail you. They're not afraid to give you a bad mark if you do a really poor job. So yes, your success is completely up to you. You're in charge of your own destiny. That sounds so cliche, but it's true. You're really in charge of your own journey in university. So if you don't put in the work, nobody's gonna force you or make you put in the work. So it's really up to you to do your best. So don't rely on your professors and don't think they're gonna chase you for assignments. You really just have to make sure to schedule that and be on top of things yourself. And the last one from Bailey is that if you don't go to parties or have a roommate, it will be hard to make new friends. And if you don't make friends the first few weeks, that will also be hard. So this is a two-part assumption. So I'll answer the first part and then the second part. So for the first part about going to parties or having a roommate to make friends, this is not true. Most of my friends in university were not people that I met at parties or that were my roommates. My friends were mostly coming for my classes. To be honest, you're gonna meet a lot of your friends in your classes because those are the people that you're gonna rely on to help you when you miss a day if you're sick, to pass on notes to you, to just chat about assignments, or just for group projects. I mean, especially for group projects. You'll make a bunch of friends when you have group projects because you have to work really closely together. And so it's just natural you're gonna become friends. Of course, you're gonna make friends when you go to parties. But I wouldn't say that's where all your friends come from or your roommates. You're gonna have friends outside of your roommates, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. You don't have to go to parties or be best friends with your roommates to have friends. People in your program are just like you. They're looking for friends. They don't know anything about university. So you're gonna find friends both ways, but I would say in class is a huge one. And then the second part to that assumption is that if you don't make friends in the first few weeks, that it's gonna be pretty hard to do that. And I would say this is partially true. It depends on your program and the size of your program. I was in a really small program with only 65 people, so everybody made friends within the first few weeks. Everybody knows who everybody is, and little cliques started to form just because my program was kind of like high school, but most programs aren't like that. Most programs are pretty huge. So I'm telling you, if you don't make friends with people right at the start, I wouldn't worry too much because there's so many people that are probably wondering the same thing who don't have friends within the first 2 weeks. But also just in your classes, when you become more comfortable with university, you'll make friends naturally as you go along through the years. It's not just if you don't make friends in the beginning, then you're done. You'll get new friends every year, every semester, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. For me, I was in a smaller program and I actually did miss the first few weeks of school, so I know exactly how this feels. I missed the first few weeks due to health reasons, and I was struggling a bit with this exact problem making friends because my program was so small and everybody kind of divided into their own groups already by the time I got back. So if your program is super small, it might be a little bit difficult, but you can always message people on Instagram or however you talk and just introduce yourself that way if you're worried about not making friends in the first few weeks. But again, most programs are not like mine. They're way bigger than 65 people, so you really shouldn't have to worry about it. Okay. So the next assumption is from Diane, and she said that university is going to be a huge workload. I'm not going to even lie, like, this one's just true. I can't sugarcoat it for you. I can't try to make it sound better, but university is a big workload, but it's all about how you manage and schedule everything. If you're prepared and you schedule and you make sure you're on top of everything at all times, then it's not gonna seem too bad. But if you're always doing assignments the night before, then it's gonna seem like a way bigger workload than it is. But with readings, assignments, group work, all those different things, there is a lot of work that needs to be done. So get ready for the next 4 years. You're gonna have a lot of work to do, but it'll be worth it in the end. Another assumption from Diane is that there's lots of staying up late. This kind of goes hand in hand with the one about a huge workload. So yes and no, there will be a lot of staying up late if you don't plan properly. Again, if you're trying to do your assignments the night before, you're gonna be up till 4 or 5 a.m. That's kind of your own fault. But if you plan ahead and you're doing your studying every single day, doing a little piece of your assignment every single day, then you shouldn't be staying up too late. You should have time to kind of do other things, hang out with friends, go to parties, go to activities on campus. So it really all depends on what kind of person you are. If you're super organized and stay on top of things, then you shouldn't have too many late nights, but you will have some. I can't say you won't have any. Everybody has late nights because nobody's perfect, so you will have some, but the amount of late nights that you have are really gonna depend on your own scheduling. And the last one from Diane is that profs won't really know you unless you ask them stuff. So this is true. Profs have hundreds and hundreds of students across all of their different classes each semester. So the chances of them knowing you are very slim if you say nothing in the class. If you don't answer questions, if you don't introduce yourself, if you don't talk to them at all, then they're not going to know you. It's not like high school where you know every single student. Like, your profs aren't going to know you unless you make yourself known. So if you want to have a good relationship with your prof, if they're a really reputable person in your industry and you think they have a lot of connections, or you just really like them as a prof and you want to get to know them, then the best way to do that is to make sure that you are speaking up in class, that you are making yourself known, that you are there. If you sit in the very back of the room and you never speak, nobody's going to even know you exist unless they call on you, which you don't really want that to happen. Just make sure to speak up in class, that you introduce yourself to your prof, that you ask your prof questions, show that you're interested in the class, and then your prof will know who you are. But if you just stay quiet, and maybe that's what you want to do, maybe you just don't want to be seen. There are classes like that where you just wish you weren't there. So if that's what you want to do, just be quiet and don't talk, and your prof probably won't know who you are. But I do think it's an advantage for a prof to know who you are, especially when they're marking assignments. If they come across your name and they recognize you, it's probably better than if they come across somebody that they're like, who is this? This person's in my class. So just make sure to talk a lot so you can get seen in class and show an interest in class if you really want to create a relationship with your prof and get to know them. And then the last assumption is from Alyssa, my sister. You should have seen her in the last video. If you haven't seen that video yet, make sure to check it out after this one. We do a little who's smarter, high school graduate or university graduate. But she said that guys are going to be trying to hook up a lot and not looking for relationships, and they don't really treat girls well. I really want to say this isn't true, but university is filled with guys that just want to hook up. Guys don't really look for relationships, especially in university. There is a lot of hooking up that they're looking to do, and there is a lot of hooking up that goes on. And some guys do treat girls pretty poorly and don't make their intentions clear from the start. So you kind of just have to use your own judgment. Of course, I just want to make it clear, not all guys are like this. I actually met my boyfriend at the end of my first year, and we've been together for almost 4 years now. So there are guys out there, trust me, there are good ones, but a lot of guys at this age are just looking to hook up and don't really care too much about girls' feelings. So just watch out for those guys and try to make your intentions very clear with a guy at the beginning. If you're looking for a relationship, make that clear so that they can tell you if that's not something they're interested in, so that you don't end up getting your feelings hurt. And of course, girls can do this too. So if you're a guy watching this video, there are girls that are like this too. So same thing, just make sure you know what their intentions are so that you don't end up getting your feelings hurt too. And if you just want to hook up with guys too, then you do you. Like, if that's what you're looking for, then this is a good place to find it. But if you're more kind of the relationship type of girl, then you definitely have to have some blinders on to make sure that you're not getting used or tricked by a guy. So those are some of the biggest assumptions from recent high school graduates. I think all of those assumptions are pretty common. I've assumed all, if not the majority of those things too when I was in high school or just before going to university. If you had some of these assumptions, I kind of answered them for you so you know what to expect when you go to university. And if you have any other assumptions that weren't mentioned in this video, make sure to comment those down below and I'll answer those too, just in case I miss some that you're really thinking about. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you're heading to university this fall or doing university online, good luck. Just make sure to always be prepared. That's the number one thing. If you haven't seen my video yet on things I wish I knew before university, make sure to check that out. And I have a whole playlist on university tips and advice that will help you get ready for university this fall, so I'll also link that down below for you guys to check out. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and turn on that notification bell so you can get notified when I make more videos like this one. And of course, subscribe for more videos on university and life advice. See you guys next time. Bye.